Okay, so in this video, I do want to speak about the transfer window because now that it is September 1st, 2025, the transfer window for La Liga is officially over, and that we're going to be sticking with the squad that we do have today. So I'm going to be giving out like a lot of data, a lot of stats, a lot of numbers. It's going to be a very data-driven type of video. So we're going to be talking about the Premier League, how much they have spent, and how much La Liga has spent as well, and just compare both sides because I think that it is healthy to know exactly where Barcelona do stand in general in terms of financials compared to like other clubs, because to me it's insane. It's insane to know that teams like Liverpool can spend so much money, Man City can spend so much money, Real Madrid can spend so much money, but Barcelona is struggling to register players like Rooney Barty, Szczęsny, and Marcus Rashford. Right? So it's kind of annoying. I mean, like, as a football fan, it's very exciting. Like, I cannot wait to see Liverpool play their football with Alexander Isaac, with Florian Wirtz, with Frimpong. All of these players are new, by the way. Ikiteke is also a new player. Salah is also always going to be there. It's going to be one hell of a team, and I just find it insane to know that a team like Liverpool can just say, you know, that team Bayer Leverkusen, they were really good for the past 2 seasons. Let's grab their best players, their best 4 to 5 best players, and bring them here to Liverpool, just like that. And I understand that, you know, this is a team that is very, I would just say they earn a lot of income. They have done a lot of things well. But I believe that a team like FC Barcelona do a lot of things very well too. And we have fixed our finances from top to bottom. So I just don't understand why somebody like Javier Tebas wants to continue to restrict us so much. And I don't understand why he has no interest in trying to better the league, right? If he truly does care about La Liga, I will tell you that I think that he should give us a little more room to sign the players that we do want. And that goes for any other club out there in La Liga. I'm not just talking about FC Barcelona in general, but I believe that players like Real Betis, I mean, like, they got Antony, right? But like clubs like Real Betis or clubs like Espanyol, clubs like Sevilla, right? A team like Sevilla should not be losing so many players every summer. Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, FC Barcelona, we should all be able to have a big say in the transfer market. But no, we continue to lose. We continue to lose against teams in the Premier League. They can spend as much money as they want, and that's the reason why they're going to continue to be competitive. So let's go back to what I was going to originally say, right? Let's talk about La Liga first. Real Madrid have spent 178 million euros this summer on transfers. It is one of the highest in Europe, by the way. Like, they have spent money on Álvaro Carreras, Dean Huijsen, Franco Mastantuono, and Trent Alexander-Arnold. So in total, right, to break down their spending, they have spent 50 million euros on Carreras. They have spent 62.5 million euros on Dean Huijsen, 45 million euros on Franco Mastantuono. And then we have Trent Alexander-Arnold. They have spent 10 million euros. I know that there's going to be many Real Madrid fans and accounts stating that we got Trent Alexander-Arnold for free, but no, they have spent 10 million euros because it was a sign-on bonus, right? Same thing with Kylian Mbappe. They have spent 150 million euros on Kylian Mbappe. It was not for free. It wasn't for free. So moving from there, we have FC Barcelona. And, you know, I mean, like, we spent only, 27.5 million euros this summer, according to the transfer market. The reason why it adds up to this amount is because of Joan García. He did cost around 24 to 25 million euros. And then we have Rooney Barty, who cost 2.5 million euros, and that's basically it. That amounts to the grand total of 27.5 million euros that we have spent this summer, and nothing more. Like, that's just not even enough to buy a player like Álvaro Carreras, even though we never heard of this player before, because he cost 50 million euros. And yeah, we move on from there. Atletico Madrid, they have spent a total of 175 million euros this summer. Keep in mind that both clubs that come from Madrid have been able to spend more than 100 million euros this summer. Meanwhile, a team like FC Barcelona spent less than 30 million euros this summer. But, you know, with Atletico Madrid, they spent a lot of money. I expect them to do very good things in this league season. It's going to be very exciting for them. They have new arrivals, like players like Alex Baena, David Hanco. They have, what's his name, Giacomo Raspadori, right? We have these 3 players that they have signed, and they spent a lot of money, right? Atletico Madrid has spent a lot of money. Even going back to the last summer of 2024, they also spent 78 million euros on Julian Alvarez, something that was unheard of last summer. So grand total, I believe, yeah, the top 3 earning clubs in La Liga, it is Real Madrid, it is Atletico Madrid, and then you have Villarreal. Yes, it's not FC Barcelona, it is Villarreal, who they have spent 36 million euros. Barcelona have spent, once again, 27.5 million euros, which is 5 to 7 million euros less than Villarreal. Makes no sense to me, but that's just how it is. Now, when you compare the top 3 spenders in La Liga to the top 3 spenders in the Premier League, there's no fight there. The Premier League clearly have much more money. They give them much more room. They get to really enjoy themselves and just splatter themselves with money. Because if we look at Liverpool alone, and you compare their spending to the top 3 earners in La Liga, Liverpool alone have spent 415 million euros this summer. Chelsea come in second at 285 million euros. That comes by no surprise. Chelsea have spent like I think 2.6 billion already in the past 3 summers. And then we have Arsenal at 255 million euros that come in 3rd place. So the Premier League the Premier League in general this summer, like putting all the clubs together, they have spent a total of 3.17 billion, which is a record-shattering number for the transfer window. All right, they spent a lot of money. And the previous record before was 2.4 billion euros, which was set back in 2023. And, Liverpool are popping bottles right now. All Liverpool fans are popping bottles right now because they have also did some record, right? I don't know what that record was specifically, but the fact that Liverpool spent 125 million euros on Alexander Isak, that did push past the 3 billion euro mark for the total Premier League spending. But I believe that the record here was that Liverpool never spent no more than like 100 million euros on a player. That's why it was record shattering for Liverpool to spend 125 for Alexander Isak. Can you imagine that type of attack and what they're going to be having? Ikiteke, Isak as a number 9, Floating Wirtz number 10, Salah on the right wing position. Keep in mind that Floating Wirtz is not doing well right now, and I'm telling you guys right now, he will do well. I think that everything takes time. Everything in terms of like when you bring in new players for the first time together, you need to give them more room. Everybody wants to say that, oh, like he's finished, that he's not ready for the Premier League. Just wait, just relax, give it time, and Floating Wirtz eventually will become the player that he is supposed to be and the player that Liverpool signed, right? So I'm happy for them. The top 3 Premier League spending clubs this summer: Liverpool, Chelsea, and Arsenal, as we discussed. It's a lot of money, and I just think that, you know, as a Barcelona fan, this is very annoying to hear. As a football fan, it's fun. I like this. But as a Barcelona fan, it's very annoying to hear because when you are a team that won La Liga, you won the Spanish Super Cup, you won the Copa del Rey, you went far into the Champions League, you went into the semifinals. Liverpool didn't, by the way. And the fact that we made a lot of money in the Champions League, we should be able to have more of a capacity to spend. At the very least, give us 80 million euros to spend, please, without no problems. Give us 80 million euros so maybe we can sign a player like Bastoni, or sign a player like Musiala, or sign a player like Floating Wirtz, right? At least give us room to register the players that we want to, and because, like, bro, like in the past 12 to 24 hours, there was news everywhere saying that Real Betis signed this player, Liverpool signed this player, City signed this player, etc., and then in our world, for FC Barcelona, what we heard was Barcelona registered this player, Barcelona registered that player. It was not about signing this player and that player, right? So it's insane. I want to delve just a little bit deeper on Liverpool's record-breaking summer, and then I'll speak about FC Barcelona, right? Total spent is 484 million euros. Alexander Isak, 125 million euros total. Floating Wirtz, 116.5 million euros. Hugo Ikiteke, 79 million euros. And then there's some other players that Barcelona, that Liverpool signed, which was like Frimpong, for example, another player that came from Bayer Leverkusen for like 30 million euros. Now, here's the thing. Like, many might say, oh, well, Kevin, you must be saying that maybe the Premier League is just letting these clubs do whatever they want and they can spend as much as they want to. In a sense, yes, yes, that's true. In a sense, but I think the Premier League is more of a club that just says, like, okay, like if you do very well in terms of selling players, we would allow you to buy big later on, right? That's basically their formula. If you sell players that cost 100 million euros, you can spend 110 million euros on players that you do want later, no problem. In La Liga is different because in La Liga they have all the clubs tied up except for Real Madrid, by the way. But they have all the clubs tied up. They say, okay, Tebas is like, okay, bro, you have sold these players for, like, let's just say 50 million euros, but you're only allowed to spend 12 million euros this summer. We're sorry. If you want to spend 40 million euros, you're going to have to sell players that amounts to 100 million euros. That's just how it is right now under the influence of Javier Tebas and La Liga, right? So the reason why I'm saying that is because we look at the Premier League, we look at how they handle their clubs and how they treat them. They say, okay, like if you do well here and you sell well here, you can buy more players here. Liverpool have done their job. They have done a world-class operation over the past few weeks. Like, for example, they have generated 220 million euros this summer. And those major sales was Luis Diaz going to Bayern Munich for 65 million euros. Darwin Nunez going to Al Hilal for 56 million euros. We have Kwanzaa leaving for 30 million euros, Ben Doak for 25 million euros, Trent Alexander-Arnold going for 8 million euros, and there's other players that came out for 12.5, another player that came out for 10 million euros. Liverpool did their job. right? And they have been able to sell a lot of players that amounts to 220 million euros. Let me tell you, if a team like FC Barcelona did this and they sold and generated 220 million euros, I bet you, and I know how La Liga works, bro. Like Tebas will say, okay, 220 million euros, but you can only spend 45 to 50 to 60 million euros at the very most. That's just how it is. I'm sorry, but that's just how it is, because we have that ridiculous 1-1 rule. But in the Premier League, they say, okay, 220 million euros. Okay, you have the green light to spend 484 million euros, because he also did very well in the last summer of 2024, because Liverpool, they have let go of a lot of players over the past few summer transfer windows, and they have bought very little, and that is why we see this big monumental success that they're having right now. So they're for sure popping balls, bro. I'm pretty sure like the CEO is drunk as hell right now. But yeah, we can also account their commercial success. We could also account their massive revenue streams, like they have hospitality income, supposedly a lot of great match day income. They have made a lot of money in the Champions League as well. They have this new Adidas kit deal that was worth like 60 million euros a season for the next 10 years. That also brings in a lot of money, and the Premier League does reward that. Once again, in La Liga, they don't care if Barcelona signed a Spotify agreement that costs 110 million euros or something crazy like that. They don't care. So now let's talk about FC Barcelona, right? Because Barcelona, I want to kind of summarize what we have done in this summer, which is really not a lot, which is why I'm not going to really talk too much about FC Barcelona. But like, for example, we have brought in Joan García, 25 million euros ever since Ter Stegen got injured, and we no longer wanted to rely on Iñaki Peña. Joan García was the man that Hansi Flick wanted, and he was right. Joan García had a masterclass performance against Rayo Vallecano, so he was amazing. We also brought in Marcus Rashford, Rooney Barty. Not really the most exciting transfer window, but it is what it is. We barely registered Rooney Barty, and he cost 2.5 million euros. It's insane. We were supposed to get Nico Williams, but Nico Williams said, like, no way. I don't even know if you guys can register me. I mean, like, he was right. Look at how much we have suffered in the past 48 to 72 hours. By the way, Marc Bernal barely got registered as a first team player, and it's not even fully completed yet. Like, we need more time. And then we do have Pau Victor that joined Braga for 12 million euros. Alex Valle went to Como for 6 million. Pablo Torre moved to Mallorca for 5 million. Sergio Dominguez went to Dinamo Zagreb, or whatever that team is called, 1.2 million. We have also let go of Lenglet to Atletico Madrid for free. Inigo Martinez left for free to Al Nassr. Ansu Fati left on loan to Monaco. And then we have Astralaga, who went to Granada. And then we also have Todibo. Yeah, I was wrong. Todibo was sold for 80 million euros. And then we have Francisco Trincao, where, you know, the remaining rights have been sold for 11 million euros. Again, it's kind of boring. Like, I'm even kind of bored talking about this because there's really little to no movements. Like, the fact that we did not even ever hear anything about the termination of Oriol Romeu, it's just like, bro, like, they did not even want to announce that. It's insane to me. But here's the thing, right? Just to give you guys maybe just a little bit of I would just say, positivity here. I'm gonna tell you guys one thing. Joan Laporta's time is running up, meaning that his term as the president of FC Barcelona is coming very, very close. Like, his end is coming close. It is March 2026. And over the past 5 to 6 years, ever since that he came back in 2021, he hasn't really yet to like make a real marquee signing. We have never seen him sign a player in the caliber of like Haaland or Musiala or Mbappe type of characters, right? We don't, like, Joan Laporta has yet to do that. And the fact that he is going to be trying to go for the third term, which is going to be starting on March 2026, I can guarantee you two things. Point number one, the media is going to try extremely hard to make sure that they make as much stories as possible during that time. I'm talking about between December 2025 up until April 2026. They're going to try and manipulate, not in a bad way, because manipulate is kind of like a harsh term to kind of like say, but I would just say they will try their very best to create all of these stories to make sure that Joan Laporta is trying to get this player, like a player like Musiala, a player like Julian Alvarez, Erling Haaland, for example, just to create these stories, because it makes a lot of sense. Every time you want to go for another term, or you're coming in as a new president of a club, you want to be able to sell the fact that you're going to bring in this player, like kind of like how Joan Laporta was saying, I'm going to bring in Messi if you re-elect me. And so I expect the media to create these stories. Whether they're true or not, it does not matter. These stories will be created. And then point number two, which kind of aligns with point number one, Joan Laporta, for sure, if he wants to convince everybody that he should run for a third term, he is for sure going to try and go for a marquee signing, for sure. You better bet that he will, only because he's going to go for that third term. he's going to really try and go for it. And I really do think that with the VIP seats being sold soon, with the Spotify Camp Nou finally getting opened and will be opened in a couple of months, I would just say maybe in 2 months, with the max capacity in the short term being like 34 or like 35K seats and stuff like that. It'll grow as time does go by. The idea is that we go up to like 68 to 69 seats being open by the end of the season. But with that being open as well, I do think that FC Barcelona know that they have to do a lot of work going into the summer of 2026. I think that Joan Laporta's main objective and his main, I would just say, pitch on why he should be reelected is our sporting project is not done, but we're like 90% there. There's a lot of things that we must do, but you need to give me more time to be able to complete my image. There are small modifications that we need to make, and if you re-elect me, we can make those modifications. And the players I'm going to be going for, that is where he's going to come out and say that we'll go for Julian Alvarez to reinforce the striker position. It will start a brand new era because Lewandowski will be leaving, and we're also going to be having, let's just say, I don't know, Bastoni to reinforce our defensive line, because we believe that with Inigo Martinez leaving, with I don't know who else is going to be leaving at that time, but it would bring a sense of a brand new era at Barcelona, right? And I believe that Barcelona know themselves on a sporting level that they need to reinforce their backline. They do. The CDM position is fine. The midfield position is fine, but I do think that there is work to be done on the left wing position, on the striker position, and on the center back position, and that is where Joan Laporta is going to be attacking. So we'll see how things do play out. It's going to be very exciting. That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.